the whole purpose of ERP is to kind of streamline your processes. And we talked about you can or you cannot have IT if you need it. Does an ERP replace jobs?
Okay. See, it's a good question, because especially nowadays with AI and all that, there's a lot of conversation going, is AI is going to take up my role. I'm going to lose my role with AI rolling out and all that. But, think of an ERP. What it does is like it actually collects data from you. It flows that data between the departments, and most importantly, it generates the reports for the management to make sure, it's all running smooth, see the numbers, take actions based on the number. So an ERP system is never going to replace a job. It's going to make sure you get proper data on your desk. It's going to streamline your process. It's going to make your job a lot easier, right? Think of it as a tool which is going to help you. It's never going to replace that seat. It is always going to streamline your processes and going to make it easy for you, so you get time to do more things than what you used to do without an ERP system. But it's never going to replace any role, I would say.
Okay. So it basically gives you more information, which kind of can allow you to implement it or not, and in that case you could make more money potentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
All it saves is time.
How long should my ERP last me? You mentioned kind of the support and the ongoingness of it. How long should it last for?
I would say, as long as your business is live, you need a system to get that running. So have that ERP there. As long as you're having that ERP, make sure it is supported, right? Because see, when I say support, it's not just about if you need something, somebody to contact, right? A support means it's an ERP system. If it stops on a day, you're gonna lose time. Time is money. Your business will be kind of on a pause if that happens, if you transition into an ERP. So you need support for multiple things. One is like there has to be someone available on a call if you run into a pause. Second, the most important thing is like, the security side of it. You need someone who's actually monitoring your servers, who's actually monitoring if there is any, hacks or any, intruder trying to access the system, or even the server. The system you may be able to know, but the server is also something which needs to be monitored. Not just from a security point of view, also from a utilization point of view, which means we are actually hosting it on a hardware device which have a limitation in terms of, it has this much CPU, this much memory, RAM and all that, also the storage. So you need someone who actually monitor it and say, if it is hitting this mark, it send an alert or something like, you needs to extend your server or you needs to perform a restart. So you need someone who can actually take care of the daily maintenance of the system. Right. So support is an extremely important thing. As long as you have the system, I would recommend have that support agreement going with the right partner.
So Vanud, based on your last 14 years of implementing Odoo, what are the do's and don'ts for a company that's looking to implement Odoo ERP?
Okay. See, it's a good question, because we actually deal with a lot of rescue project, which means somebody else worked on it and then it failed and we had to take over those projects. We have a lot of experience in those rescue projects. So the do's and don'ts is something which is very important, because I think the first thing is there is responsibility for both the side, as a business owner as well as a partner. So if you're talking about a typical business implementation, consider this: your partner is an expert in the system, but the partner is not the expert in your business. So the key is you actually outline everything which you do on a day-to-day basis, right? Because they will not have any clue of how you are actually running your business. So make sure you actually give them a walkthrough of your business, virtual or if possible in physical. That will actually give the partner an idea of what you actually do. Then explain about your challenges, right? Meaning there is a reason why you're looking for an ERP. Probably you want to improve something. Probably you're actually missing something. Maybe you want some better reporting. So what are your reasons for an ERP? Explain that, or maybe outline those challenges before you reach out to a partner. Okay, so if not an extensive documentation, have your homework done. Put it on a document, at least in bullet points, like why I need an ERP, and then add some wish list as well in terms of what I want to be. Because when you are implementing an ERP, don't look at it as you are building a small system for a particular purpose. It's going to be the the backbone of your business, and it is going to stay with you for 5, 10 or maybe more than 10 years. So think through the future and what and how your business needs to be. Have a rough idea of that. Put it on that document. And then the next important thing is how you're going to identify a partner. Because identifying a partner comes with a lot of responsibilities, because you never know what that partner is capable of until you start your project, right? So asking the right question to your partner, making sure they can actually deliver it, making sure they have experience in similar projects, and just look at their profile, their online presence and all that, their expertise. So once you identify your partner, the next thing is make sure the partner is actually getting an idea of your business, meaning they're asking the right questions, right? And then make sure you provide as many details as possible, because that actually allows them to design the system. And once you actually align those business requirements to the partner, let them come back with a timeline and obviously cost side of it. So one of the don'ts which you shouldn't be doing is you shouldn't be looking for a duration of that project at the end of a call. Give them all those information, let them go back, process it. They should actually map it with whatever is already there in Odoo. If it is not in Odoo, come back with these things needs to be developed, and this is going to take this much time. So always give enough time for your partner to go back, brainstorm and come back and say the cost and duration of the project and all that. And once you actually into that cost duration point of it, by that time you'll already be identifying a partner with whom you want to go with and all that. So the next thing is once you start the implementation of the project, never think it is now in the partner's head. Let them do the implementation side and inform us when the system is ready. That is actually something designed for failure. Have at least weekly or bi-weekly conversation with them. Just make sure your project is actually progressing. Make sure they are actually doing things which is actually aligning to your what you want it to be. It is always better to catch those deviations upfront. If you are actually getting into those deviations towards the end of the project, you may end up losing a lot of money as well as time. So have that continuous conversation going with your implementation partner is a key. And if you think it's not happening, right, because if there is a lot of deviation from how you want it to be, or you're not able to get satisfied with the progress of the project and all that, discuss it with the partner, give them open feedbacks. And then if you think it's still not working, pull the plug, right? Waiting till the end and assuming that this is going to be okay when we go live is not a good approach. I have seen it a lot, and this means you will lose a lot of money and eventually you have to find another partner. So if you think it's not working, pull the plug. Then the most important thing, again, as I said, is UAT. You have to do UAT very seriously. I have seen people who's like, when we say UAT, they'll place couple of orders here and there and say all looks good, and then they go into production, all the employees comes in, and then it starts to fail. And if you try to fix it, you're only doing some bandage work, and the problems are going to grow. This is another reason why project fails if you're not doing your UAT. We always recommend our customers to do at least a week of UAT. Make sure you can actually bring in more number of people into that UAT event. We have a customer who actually did it like, they actually moved into their bigger warehouse space and moved all their employees, not all their employees, and they, kind of arranged a shift and all that. So all the people were actually coming into that one area, and they are working around that, that big space, talking to each other like, hey, I placed an order. Did you get that in the warehouse? Did you get that invoice in your department? So those sort of conversation, active discussions during the UAT is also, an important thing. So even if you're not doing it into that level, make sure you're actually bringing at least one or two, experts from each of your departments, and don't go live until you get a green signal from all the departments, right? And then once you actually get into a phase where you can actually implement this thing and move to your new system, don't plan it like I'm going to switch off the old system, move to the new one on a Monday morning, and everything is going to be smooth. Do parallel running at least for a week, your old system and the current system. Make sure it's all going good, and buy in that 1 week support, like a full-time support from your partner during that first week when you're going live. Their availability is a key thing, because that's your first week. You may be doing all those UAT, but there could be one instance which you missed during your UAT, and that came up in that first week. So you want that partner to be available and fix those things ASAP to get the things moving. And the first month, consider it as the crucial period. If you go through that first month, you might be doing most of your usual business workflows. You might have your P&L, you might have your balance sheet and all that checked in that 1 month. So that's kind of align everything and making sure the system is performing how it should be. So keep that 1 month active, make sure everything is working. And then one thing which I missed is during the implementation, make sure you identifying a point of contact from your side. You don't want all your department heads and all that to go in and talk to your partner, give them ideas during the implementation. All those ideas are actually collected before you start the implementation, right? So during your implementation, have that one point of contact, constantly interact with the implementation partner. And if any of those department heads needs to be on the meeting, that point of contact responsibility will be bring the right person into those into those meetings as and when needed. So keep it clean, have that one point of contact, let him or her coordinate all those things, and then once you're live, have that support contract in place and make sure you're getting support from your implementation partner. I think in that conversation we covered few do's, there were few don'ts, right? So yeah, I think if we consider all these points, like first is prepare yourself. Number two is like convey your business logic to your partner. And once you identify it, involve in the implementation phase. And once it's done, make sure you are actually doing a proper UAT, getting trained, and then onboarding your users into the new system and making sure it is running and making sure you are supported.
Vanud, how do you feel about phased approaches towards ERP implementations?
Okay. All right. So, consider you are actually a medium to big size business and you are actually wants to have all your sales, all your purchase, all your finance, bookkeeping, everything into Odoo, plus you may have some manufacturing firm, you wants to have your CRM in Odoo. So, if you want all these modules to be placed in Odoo, I would say take baby steps, which means you actually face your project in a way, what is I need to get this started in the ERP. So if I just want to use Odoo as a CRM, just use it as a CRM, like as a phase 1. Define your phase 2 as, okay, sales and accounting, or maybe sales and inventory is coming in phase 2, accounting is coming in phase 3. So the advantage of this phased approach is, one, you are actually splitting your large project into small. 2, you are actually getting something delivered, in a shorter period, right? So you can actually make sure the system is actually working, the implementation partner is the right choice, without waiting for the entire project to be completed. So whenever you have a long implementation time period, try to split it, into smaller ones. Say 3 months or maybe maximum 6 months. If it takes more than that, try to put a phased approach. And phased approach means you can actually see the ROI. That is, you spend this much, you implement a CRM, is it actually bringing any value to me? If it is not, should I do the next part? See, there is another thing which we haven't talked about, that is Odoo a right fit for you? Odoo is an ERP system with all these modules, doesn't means you can fit Odoo into all the businesses. There may be cases where Odoo is not the right fit. There may be other system which is designed for it. So this is something which your implementation partner should tell you during those initial discussions. If they feel Odoo is not your not your cup of tea, you should actually listen to them and then probably look for some other solution, or probably listen to your partner and say if they have any suggestions. 2, if you're doing a phased approach, let's say you actually went with the wrong partner and you implement ERP and then you're actually having a lot of struggle with it and your users are not comfortable with it. So even if your implementation partner didn't give you that advice that okay, we can try to fit Odoo in, but that's not good and all that. So if you're doing this phased approach, during that first phase implementation, you can actually take that decision. That is, if it is not working, there is actually a minimum amount which you spend on that project compared to doing it in a full stretch. So always try to put it in multiple phases when you can. There are situations where you can't phase it out. As a business, I want everything running, otherwise it's not going to work for me. We have such projects. We have projects which took more than a year or around 2 years sometimes, because big giant projects. Those in those cases, if you are doing it in a big one chunk project, those status meetings and all that is extremely important. Make sure you are actually seeing the system, not just let those implementation partner read through a status report. Arrange a demo in between in terms of what's been done so far. Make sure you're actually seeing those, right? And if possible, try to set up your access into the system. So somebody from your side can actually go into the system, play around a bit, and see how that, how things are coming up. So the progress of the project. Your people are getting comfortable with the system. So yeah, phased approach is always preferred. If you can't do it, make sure you're actually tracking it, tracking the progress, tracking the functionalities. So
Thanks for watching. Join us next time where we'll be discussing upgrading from one version of Odoo to another.